In the cold northern forests of Minnesota and central areas of Canada lives an evil spirit that desires to kill and eat its victims. The Wendigo. What's up, everyone? This is your ghost host with the most, Project Zero Kram. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the Wendigo. So sit back, relax, and let's get spooky. Known by the Algonquin and other First Nation tribes, the Wendigo has been associated with cultural taboos such as cannibalism, murder, and greed. Although the description varies slightly based on who tells the story, there are some common features. It is said to be a tall, malnourished humanoid figure, about 15 feet or so. It has pale gray skin pulled tight over its bones, coal red eyes sunken deep into its skull. Some say it has antlers protruding from its head, while others say it just wears the skull of a deer. If you ever want to meet a Wendigo, all you have to do is merely mention it, or that invites it to start stalking you. The Algonquin described the creature as a giant with a heart of ice. Sometimes it is thought the creature is entirely made of ice. Its body is skeletal and deformed, with missing lips and toes. If that wasn't scary enough, the Ojibwe people describe it as it is a large creature as tall as a tree, with a lipless mouth and jagged teeth. Its breath was a strange hiss, its footprints full of blood, and it ate any man, woman, or child who ventured into its territory, and those were the lucky ones. Sometimes the Wendigo chose to possess a person instead, and the unlucky individual became a Wendigo, hunting down those he had once loved and then feasted upon their flesh. Legends say the Wendigo is created by those who resort to cannibalism. One story speaks of a family stuck in a cabin during a blizzard. The family supplies soon ran out. When the blizzard had subsided, a few local hunters heard an eerie cry from the woods. Terrified, they took off into what they assumed was an abandoned cabin. Upon entering the cabin, the hunters noticed how cold it was. They made their way to the front room to start a fire, and they noticed a giant creature hunched over, eating what they would assume was flesh. Scared and in a panic, the hunters left the cabin and reported the incident to the local sheriff. They reported that the whole time they felt like they were being stalked. The Wendigo is unique in that it doesn't hunt like other cryptids or other creatures in general. It lures its victims deep into the woods with cries of a human that sound close but are always just out of reach. Once its prey is lost, that's when the Wendigo will strike. The Algonquin people, that during the turn of the 20th century, a large portion of their people mysteriously disappeared. They attribute this mysterious disappearance to the Wendigo. Another rough translation of the Wendigo is the evil spirit that devours mankind. This translation is related to the Wendigo that has the ability to possess humans. Once he is infiltrated, it is all over, as they become the Wendigo. One of the most well-known cases is the story from 1879. A Cree native, Swift Runner, was accused of murdering and eating his whole family during the winter of that same year. Swift Runner claimed he was possessed by the Wendigo spirit at the time of the murders. Still, he was hung for his crimes. Many other tales have been reported of people possessed by the spirit, all too similar to the stories of Swift Runner. Most Wendigo sightings occurred between the 1800s and 1920s, but there have been a few more recent sightings in modern day. One such story is from 2019, when Gino Mikas and his wife and grandson were in the northern forest of Ontario when a series of eerie noises could be heard from the distance. Mikas, growing up in the area and being a hunter, had grown accustomed to all the different sounds in these woods. When it let out its first scream, he thought it was a moose, but his mind changed when it screamed again and again. He quotes, "I've heard many different animals in the wild, but nothing like this. I grew up hunting with my grandfather for 12 years of my life," he said. Mikas reported, "I could hear it move. My wife got scared and picked up our grandson and headed to the car. Mikas pulled out his phone and recorded the sounds. Some have hypothesized it could be a grizzly, but that species of bear has never been reported in this area. Others speculate it could be a Bigfoot. Whatever it is, it could send shivers down your spine." Today, many native people see the Wendigo as a cautionary tale against greed and, more recently, the overabundance of capitalism and colonialism. The name is also associated with a disputed medical term known as Wendigo psychosis, which is a syndrome that creates an intense hunger for human flesh and fear of becoming a cannibal yourself. Ironically, the psychosis is said to occur in those living in the Great Lakes area of both the United States and Canada. Initial symptoms include poor appetite, nausea, and vomiting. Those with Wendigo psychosis start seeing people around them as edible. This usually happens in the winter when there are long periods of isolation. The common response to Wendigo psychosis is to be healed by your local native healer. In cases where the attempts to heal the possessed individual failed and they began showing violent and antisocial tendencies, the possessed person was then executed. There have been reports regarding Wendigo psychosis dating back hundreds of years. Legends say that a Wendigo will simply regenerate any kind of injury it has, but if you happen to find yourself in the presence of one, you are in luck. There are ways to survive a Wendigo. Silver. The answer is silver. Using a silver bullet, a silver knife, or a stake through the heart will render the Wendigo incapacitated. It's widely believed a silver-coated steel blade will also do the trick in a pinch. But do you really want to test that? Some say the Wendigo is still out there, waiting and devouring its victims. Others believe that under its cold, frozen heart lies a hunter starving, while others still believe it is just a folklore. But whatever it is, if you hear the cries of a human deep in the woods, just know that you may be the Wendigo's next victim. Hey, and if you like this sort of content, please consider hitting the like and subscribe for more spooky content. And come hang out with us over at twitch.tv/ProjectZeroKram every Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And check out these videos for more ghosts, ghouls, and spooks.